Oh, it's practical. Hello, I am Portia with Practical Portia Crafts, and today I will go over how to make a granny square and then how to sew up one of these geometric granny square bags that is very popular on the internet right now. So to begin, you can either chain 4 and connect it, or you can make the magic loop. I prefer the magic ring, and you're going to wrap the yarn around 2 fingers. So you have 2 wraps around your finger. Go underneath the first wrap and pull the loop through, and grab your working yarn, then make a slip stitch to hold it all in place. So you have your tail here, you have your loop here, and you have your slip stitch there holding it all in place. Then I like to work over this tail just to give it a little bit more security. So to begin your granny square, you're going to make a stacked single crochet. So pull up a loop and make a single crochet. Then what you want to do is go in between the single crochet, try to grab the 2 leftmost loops and pull up a loop, then single crochet, and that's going to count as the last double crochet of your last side. So go ahead and chain 2. That's going to be your first corner, and then 3 double crochets. Okay, after you have your 3 double crochets, you're going to chain 2, which is going to make your second corner, then 3 double crochets again, chain 2 again to make your third corner, and now 1, 2, 3, okay, 3 double crochets, then chain 2 for your fourth corner, and then you can complete this last side with 2 double crochets. Then just tighten this a little to bring it close, but before you join, I like to take your tail and pull it through the ring, then tighten it, finish tightening it all the way up. Keep that tail out and tighten your granny square. Then the loop that you have from your tail, just pull that right through. And it's basically knotting and securing that ring to help keep it from coming loose later. And I just carry that tail right on up. That's less sewing in I have to do later. So you find the top of your single crochet here and slip stitch, and just keep working on that tail. Just lay it right across the top, and we're going to keep working over that with another stacked single crochet. Chain 2, and don't worry about that looking kind of weird, because you're going to crochet over that and it's going to be completely invisible. So go ahead and put your 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets in your next chain 2 spot, and then chain 2, 3 more double crochets in the same chain 2 spot, chain 1. You can see your corners forming. Then go to that next chain 2 spot, go ahead and put 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, then chain 1, and into your next chain 2 spot you're going to 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and then chain 1 into your last chain 2 spot, which is where you actually began. Just put the last 2 double crochets of that side, find the top of your stacked single crochet, make sure you go under 2 loops and slip stitch. And I'm doing every 3 rows changing color, so let's go one more row in this color. So we're going to just single crochet right into that chain 2 spot and stack a single crochet on top, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 1, into this chain 1 spot, 3 double crochets, chain 1, then into your corner, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 1, into your chain 1 space, 3 double crochets, chain 1, into your corner, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, Ah, pardon my yarn, I actually frogged a knit project and I'm salvaging this yarn and I'm putting it in the bag so it won't be too horrible, but it is annoying to work with. Okay, chain one, then 3 double crochets into the chain one space, chain one, and into your corner, you guessed it, 3 double crochets, chain two, 3 double crochets. Chain one, 3 double crochets into your chain one space, chain one, and then put your last 2 double crochets to complete that 3 double crochet, chain two, 3 double crochet that you begin with. And slip stitch to the top of your stacked single crochet. Then I like to slip stitch into the chain two space and then chain two, snip that yarn, and then you're done with the first part of your granny square. Now for our next color. Normally everyone says it's a no-no to chain with the tail, but I feel it gives me a little extra security, so I always chain with the tail, one, and then chain with the working yarn, one, and tug that. It's basically put in a knot, tiny little knot. And if you want it to be super secure, you can knot the tail, the two tails together. I'm not going to do that because I feel like that knot right there is secure enough. So you're going to do what we've been doing already, which is making a stacked single crochet, okay. I'm trying not to get 3 loops so it can be neat. I just want 2. And there we go. There. See that third loop, I try to always go in between. There you go. That way it won't be super open and look really weird. Alright, after you get your stacked single crochet, you're going to chain 2. And then continue on with your corner, making 3 double crochets and crocheting over your tails, so that's a little less work on you later. You'll still have to tuck those in a little, but it won't be so bad. Go ahead and chain 1 and continue on with your granny square, making 3 double crochets into the chain 1 spaces and chaining 1, and 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets into the corners and chaining 1. and just finish around like so. I will finish the next 3 rounds off camera and come back and do this last little border. Alright, so now I've gotten 1, 2, 3 rows of pink and 1, 2, 3 rows of gray. I'm going to just flip it over and tidy up my yarn tail, and then we can go ahead and put the border. So go back to your pink yarn, then just pull a loop through and basically double knot it with the tail and the working yarn. And go ahead and do a double crochet just right over both of those tails. Then do one more double crochet into this corner. When we come back around, we will make the third double crochet and we will join to that first one we made here. So now for this last round, you're just going to half double crochet into each double crochet, okay, so for this round you're just going to half double crochet into each double crochet, and then you're going to half double crochet into each chain, and then you're going to half double crochet 3 times into each corner. Okay, now we're going to be working on our wrong side, and we're basically going to play Ring Around the Rosie here, and we're going to sew, we're going to start here and sew up here, and then sew this, and sew this. So you're basically making an X, and you're going to sew that together. And then we're going to basically do that same thing again 3 more times. So we're going to add one here, here, and here, and we're going to ring around the rosy again, but we're jumping ahead. So first we're going to start in this corner. Look for your middle. You got 1, 2, 3. Look for the middle one. Number 2. And get your yarn through there. And you can connect these however you like. I personally prefer the whip stitch because it's easy. I don't know. It's just my preferred method, but whatever floats your boat. I'm just going to knot this. And I'll only stay on camera to show you. Let's just do it again to be on the safe side. Okay, and I'm gonna just show you this side, and then I'm going to go off camera, and then I'll come back, and then I'll go off camera and I'll come back. So the whip stitch is basically going in the same direction. So I'm going to go this way and come back around, and you know me, I like to go over these tails. We're going to just whip this right on in. So you just went in there, you're going to go into the next one, and then into the next one on your opposite square. And you're just going to continue down the row, just like that. So I'm going to finish down this row, and then I'll be right back and add this one to that. Now we've gone up the side here, and now we're going to go into the middle here, into the middle here, and then into the middle here. And then we're going to just whip stitch down here, down this row, and then we're going to do the same thing, the middle here, and middle here. And then we're going to whip stitch down this, hit the middle here, here, or sorry, you go through the middle here, here, and then here. And we'll go back down this way, and then finally the middle here, the middle here, and the middle here. And then I will get back to you to show you how to add the next. Okay, so our first X is done, except for the middle here and the middle here. So what we're going to do is just slide that up, grab another square. We're going to go into the middle here, and the middle stitch here, and the middle stitch here. And then we're going to work our way around, sewing this down here. So we're here at the corner, we're going to tighten up this corner here, and then continue around. And then we're going to attach the corner here, and then go down this way, and attach here, go up this way. This is going to be our second square here. So I'll get started on that. And I'll get started on that, and then I'll go off camera to finish, because this is like next to impossible to do through the viewfinder. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have to hold this. So I'm going through the middle here. Just one, and that's the middle there. Try not to bump this camera here. Okay, and then now we're here, we're going to whip stitch across here, and then connect the corners, then whip stitch across here, and we're going to continue that around, and then I'll pick it back up after we finish that. So now we have our first X here and our second X here. So we're going to make one more X, and then we'll only have 2 squares left, and then we'll be able to fold it, and then we can make our straps. So we're going to take another square. Oops. You're going to put it there, and then you're going to grab a square here and a square here, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to I'm actually going to start here. I'm going to get the corner here and the corner here, and I'm going to I'm going to whip stitch down this row here, and then I'm going to take a corner, a corner, and a corner, and then I'm going to whip stitch up here, get the 3 middles, and then whip stitch down here. And then when I get down here, I will catch back up with you guys, and we'll finish off with these last 2 squares. Okay, we're getting there. So now we have our 1, 2, 3 X's. We just have these last 2, and all you're going to do is sew these 2 on the edge here. So you're going to sew up here and here, and then you're going to sew up here and here. And I will attach some yarn and sew these up, and then show you how to fold it and sew it down. Alright, we're back to the point of sewing our bag closed, and this is the first X. And what you're going to do is sew from here to here and down to here, and then close it up. You're going to close up these 2, if that makes sense. So basically, okay, let's start there. So you have your kind of square here and then a square here. All you're going to do is basically fold it like that, and you're going to sew down here, and then you're going to take this and you're going to just sew it here, and then you're going to sew that there, and you're basically closing your bag. So you're going to end up sewing, here to here to here with this side. That and that. Alright. It seems confusing, but we're going to do it. I have these little pieces left over. I'm just going to grab them and use these. I'll sew that in here. And we can start here. We can start here, sewing that up. So go ahead and join your yarn. Hopefully I have enough. I might have to grab another piece. Now you can just fold this up here and whip stitch Now that you've gotten to the end of there, you're going to just continue right along and crocheting while sewing up the edge here. So getting that corner and keep on whip stitching. I love crocheting or whip stitching or whatever over my tail, so I have a little bit less to do afterwards. So feel free to save yourself a step. I'm going to finish whip stitching to this corner, and then I'll turn it and sew that, but I will come back on camera when I get to the end here. Okay, I've whip stitched to the end of this row here. Now I'm going to connect these corners and then just start whip stitching along this last edge here. Now I have finished with this side, and as you can see, it basically closes up the bag. So now, remember this was your first X, you're going to do the same thing right here. So you're going to fold this, and then you're going to end up folding this over and closing it up that way. So for now, we'll just start in this corner, whip stitching down, then whip stitching this here, and finally whip stitching that here. So it's just this little in here. So I'll get started on that, and I'll pop back onto camera when I get here. Okay, now that I've come to the end of this little segment here, I'm just going to fold this over and sew it down to here, and then I'll come right back. We're going to basically sew these two together, and then sew this, sew these two together, and then this part to here. And then our bag will be fully enclosed. So I will go ahead and sew down this row, and then I will sew up this part, and then get right back to you. Okay, the bag is all sewn up, and from here you can decide if you wanted to maybe crochet along the top. So just make a border around the top of whatever stitch you would like, or you want to just go ahead and add handles. Add a handle to the inside of here, and a handle to the inside of here, and then your bag will be complete. I am going to cheat, and it's really late, so I just want to be done. I'm going to knit my handles, and I'm going to use my little cinch row here. Nope. Okay. and I like those. They make very sturdy straps. And I'll put a strap here, and then I'll put a strap across here. And I will post pictures of the finished bag, and again, you just need whatever kind of squares you like, whether it be granny squares or motifs or what have you. Then you make 13 of them and sew it together to, like I showed with the X's. You can see there's an X right there. And actually, yeah, there's X there, then the bottom is X, and then there's your other X right there. And then you just, the two extra squares you sewed on, you just sewed, along here. And that is it in a wrap. I have those pictures up, but it's like almost 6 o'clock in the morning right now, so I'm going to bed. Um, Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and share your work. I love to see what you all come up with when I give you these little guidelines. Take it and run with it. Feel free to tag me on social media, Practical Portia Crafts on Facebook, as well as PracticalPortia_crafts on Instagram, and I will like and respond. Thank you. Okay, if you're still with me on this part and you're not crocheting your handle on, I am going to use this little 22 pin no name machine, and I'm going to make 50 rows, alternating colors every 10. And normally I would sew this off, but since we are sewing it onto a point, I'm just going to cast on without scrap yarn, and I'm just going to cinch up the edges. So leave enough room so that you'll have a nice tail to sew it onto your bag, then cast on as normal. I don't have one of those nifty little row counters, so changing every 10 really helps me, and that works out. So we got one on. Okay. 2. And if you want your color changes to be on the inside and not on just the edge, you can keep rolling another 2 or 3 pins and then change there, but I'm good. Let's see, there we go. All right. I'm only round 7, but I am going to take this off and tie this off real quick. You could do this afterwards. It's actually probably a little bit easier to do it afterwards, but I like to get stuff done as I go. So as long as you don't pull it too tight to where it cinches up, or you have it too loose to where there's a hole, a clear hole showing. And I will turn off camera to save the little capacity I have on this SD card, and I'll come back after I've gotten 50 rows. Okay, when you get to 10 on your 5th round, just go ahead and snip your yarn off and grab a needle And then just pull your yarn off and rotate almost all the way around. So that's my end there. I'm going to thread up and start pulling these loops off. Alright, so if you were tying these as you went, you just leave those tucked in. If not, flip this inside out and make sure you tie up all of your little joins here. And after all of them are tied and tucked in, you're just going to cinch that up. Make sure you're rolling it in to where it's not bunching up. And that's good. It doesn't have to be a very tight circle. You just want it cinched enough because you're going to sew it onto a point on your bag. So go ahead and thread up if you're not still threaded up. And I'm just going to whip stitch again and just whip stitch this end close. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're not going to see it. And then I like to double knot or triple knot everything and then tighten that, and then you're going to sew this, you're going to sew it along this way onto your bag. So do the same thing for the other side. And then you are done with that, and now you can go over and sew it on your bag. I have sewn on one handle, and you want to make sure, sorry for hitting this camera, you want to make sure that you don't twist it. And I've sewn on that one, and now I just have to sew on this last side. Okay, and I didn't do an extra border around the whole bag, but if you did, just try to be consistent wherever you decide to start sewing on. I am going to sew on this border here, and I'm again just using the whip stitch. I'm going to come in here under the V's to get a little bit more stability, and then I'm just going to whip stitch down.